Welcome to Back to the Source. I'm John Robson in for Ezra Levant, and I'm joined by Charles Cook. He's a columnist with National Review who's been covering some of the zaniness of the Occupy Wall Street protests in New York. Charles, thanks for coming back to join us. We've got something from Andrew Breitbart. It's more evidence that these protests, however strange they may be, are not spontaneous.
I mean, this is really elites pretending to be grassroots. This is AstroTurf, fake grassroots, right?
Yes, it's, we're right now sifting through an email chain. I'm breaking this news here that predates September 17th, when the occupation of Wall Street and fill-in-the-blank city, including Toronto, apparently in the coming days, is that this is the same. These are the same types of groups, the anti-WTO crowd that in 1999 attacked Seattle, attacked Starbucks, threw trash cans through the windows of Starbucks. This is the same group of people that created Camp Casey at President Bush's compound or house in Crawford, Texas. This was the anti-war movement, has now been co-opted as a means to divert attention away from the Tea Party and onto an organization that shifts the blame from the government for giving these out-of-control loans to their political cronies to the banks, many of which took the bailouts. It is a sleight of hand for the benefit of the Democratic Party and for the benefit of President Obama to change the onus away from the government policies that created our failed economic system.
Charles, do you think this is a fair description of these groups?
I think some of it is, yeah. I don't think there's been a little paranoia. I don't think, for example, there's a Wizard of Oz character pulling strings somewhere, and I don't think it's being bankrolled by one person. I mean, arguably, the people who've actually helped the protesters the most in that way have been the evil Republican billionaire Michael Bloomberg and the evil corporation that owns the park, who's given them a free ride now. Yesterday, another example. But it doesn't actually need any of that in order to be fraudulent. We've been sold a story that this is a spontaneous uprising of 99% of people against the 1%, and that's simply not true. The fact is, if you go down there, you will see, and Andrew's absolutely spot on with this, you will see exactly the same people as you always see. You'll see the people who you would see at G8 protests, at WTO protests. You'll see the people who you'd see at anti-war protests. It is the usual suspects. And it's not as if people are coming out of their houses saying, I've never protested before, I never get involved in politics, but something has to be done. That's not what's happened here at all.
Yeah, and it seems to be the narrative, it's gaining strength, it's happening in more and more cities, mainstream politicians are associating. But this is nothing like the kind of surge that the United States saw, well, in the 60s, the dream of the radicals, right, with the war and with civil rights and the huge number of ordinary Americans. It's nothing like that.
It's nothing like that at all. I mean, if you'll permit me a musical analogy, you can always tell that a rock band is going to get big when people who aren't that into music go and see them. If there are 7 people standing in a hall in New York watching a band, and they're sort of, they're very musical, they're musos, it's not mainstream. The people who are down there, they are musos. They're the sort of art lovers of the political protest world. This is not people who go to work every day or perhaps are unemployed and understandably upset at what's going on, who have gone down to join them in a common cause. These are professional protesters, or at least they're the people who spend their lives feeling angry with a whole panoply of American foreign and domestic policy decisions.
And is this partly why it's so incoherent that these people are angry about so much that you can't tell what they're mad about?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there will understandably be some people who are actually upset about the bailout. And that's not just on the left, that's on the right as well. But when you really start talking to these people, it's not that they think America is generally quite good, the system works, but they're cross about the bailout. They're actually angry about the whole edifice and they'd like to bring it down. And in that regard, the way in which they've couched this is a little disingenuous.
Yeah, I mean, they vaguely remind me of a crack of Vladimir Bukowski years ago, that American liberals may not know what they want, but they want it very badly, that these people seem to be thoroughly determined to have something. We're not sure what. We appreciate you keeping an eye on it, coming to join us and share your analysis. Thanks for being with us.